Good evening, everybody, and welcome to part two slash episode 11 of Fall to Rise. Uh, Tonight's episode is, as I said, a follow-up of last week. I'm a Black Trump supporter. I got so much feedback from last week's show, and we had so many questions that we couldn't fit them all into one episode. So we had to bring Jim back. I'm definitely thankful to Jim for coming back. It's huge. It really is huge. I'd spoken to Jim. I said, "Hey, Jim, hey, James, are you willing to come back?" He said, "Definitely." So I definitely want to thank Jim for coming back. I'm your host, James Brown. And we're going to get back into him being a Trump supporter. But before that, there's a few things that I have to express. Last week's show was great. Last week's show was respectful, insightful. Everyone hopefully learned a lot. We have to insist on the same rules this week. We have to keep this show respectful. If you have a question, there will be a Q&A at the end. Preferably, you can send your question through the chat. If you're unable to send it through the chat, you can use the hand raise button and we'll acknowledge you. We'll get your question. Your best bet is to write your questions down so that you don't forget them. When we do the Q&A, we need to be respectful, no name calling, no disrespecting of each other. Please have an open mind. Please be willing to listen, learn, and understand. So let me reintroduce my guest, Jim. Jim McDowell, welcome back.
Brother James Brown, I thank you for having me back. And as I told you, I had no choice. We started this dialogue with our brothers and sisters, so I'm here to continue. So let's take off. Let's take off. I'm ready. However they want to bring it. But I'm here. I'm open to my brothers and sisters. Any questions to understand why I'm a Trump supporter? And I have to say once again to open up that 70% of what the Democrats have not done over the years makes me a Trump supporter. 70% of what they have not done and what they have done to us makes me a Trump supporter. 30% are some of his issues and policies he has put across. The man himself, I cannot support. His racist rhetoric, I cannot support. I love my people, so I could never support racist rhetoric. So other than that, brother, I'm back. And like I said, I know I'm in good hands with you, brother, and I thank you once again for having me.
Thank you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
before we get started, I have to make an acknowledgement. All of you that have watched television, you know that we've had three major losses over the past 3 days that have not just affected the Black community, but also affected the world. The first loss was Cliff Robinson, former player for the Portland Trail Blazers, really popular player, used to wear headbands, passed away at the age of 53. We lost Coach John Thompson from Georgetown University. Coached the likes of Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Allen Iverson, Dikembe Mutombo. Great coach. Helped a lot of men, especially a lot of Black men, get into the NBA. He stressed education. Most of his star athletes actually graduated with college degrees. So even though they made it to the NBA, they were also educated. So we definitely have to acknowledge him. And of course, the one that everyone's talking about, Chadwick Boseman. That was, I think, a personal loss for all of us. It felt like we lost a relative when we lost Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick passed away last Friday at the age of 43 due to colon cancer. He told a story of Black America that hadn't been told before, in a way that it hadn't been told. From the movie 42, that's Jackie Robinson's story, where he showed that Jackie Robinson wasn't always this happy-go-lucky guy. He showed the struggles that he had. From him doing Get On Up, the James Brown movie, to doing Black Panther, which I think that everybody saw. Black Panther was a movement. It really was. To doing Marshall, The Five Bloods. Chadwick Boseman did a lot on film, but he also did a lot outside of film. He had cancer and was still visiting cancer hospitals and visiting children and telling them that it was going to be all right, even though he knew that it wasn't going to be all right for himself. So I will always have the utmost respect for him. And I really want to dedicate tonight's show to Chadwick Boseman and the individuals that we lost over the past few days. I also want to dedicate it to a good buddy of Jim and I, who lost his mom last night.
Yes.
I know it's a very difficult loss for him. My man, Jay.
Yes.
Just know that we're praying for you, bro. If you need anything, we're here for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, LB.
Uh, all right. With that being said, we're gonna jump into tonight's show. Tonight's show, as I said earlier, is Jim. I'm a Black Trump supporter. Uh, I'm a Black Trump supporter. As Jim said earlier, he's about a 30% supporter. But by the end of this, hopefully, we should be able to understand each other. And I have a nice game that we're going to play at the end. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. It's going to be a lot of user participation with this one. But before we get to that, I just have a couple of questions for Jim. And I'm pretty sure that all of you have questions from Jim because I know that I couldn't get to everyone last week. So, Jim, I have 3 quick ones. And we'll get them out the way, all right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. First question. Do you think that Donald Trump is a true Republican?
No.
Okay. That was so easy.
Yeah, it's very no. I mean, it's that's that 30% that I
Sure.
like. He is
Okay.
he is out of the mainstream system of politics. That's
Okay.
what I like. I'm tired of the same old politician, the politically correct politician, and as erratic as he can be, and sometimes asinine as can be, he's his own man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I truly appreciate it. It comes off very asinine at times, but no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think he. I don't even think the Republicans realize it. They're pretty much done. He
Yeah.
pretty much blurred. He tore the lines apart with the Republicans. So nothing in him do I really see Republican. But he
Okay.
ran on that, and like I said, he had an interview. I told you I saw it with David Letterman. He said if he ever ran, he would run Republican. I mean, it was derogatory. He said because they're stupid, and it's pretty much they. I mean, really, and you're seeing it because with his racial rhetoric, he's energized the base that's
Mm-hmm.
out there after Obama. So it did work. So the
Yeah.
man is very crafty. So him operating outside the norm of politics is refreshing. I'll be honest. It is
Okay.
refreshing to me.
Now, here's a controversial one slightly. The question can be described or asked with one word. Kanye. That's just the question. Kanye. What do you think of him? What do you think of him running for president? Do you think that he's serious? Do you think that he has the right message or that he can help Black people or the nation?
um, is he serious? I think he's dead serious.
Mm.
I think he's dead serious. And he sort of looks at Trump the way that part I see outside the establishment. He sees
Mm-hmm.
that part. He says Trump is his own man. So I do agree with Kanye on that aspect on how he looks at Trump. Kanye himself, do I think he could win? Do I think he could help us? Absolutely not. Whenever or whomever is in the system, the political system, there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Obama showed us that. There was no Obama did certain things, but really, Obama is in that democratic machine. He was
Yeah.
told what to do. I don't believe any president is truly running this country or ever
Mm.
has. I think the last president who tried to run the country was Kennedy. And I think they got their point across, and I don't think anyone tried since then. So, can Kanye do anything for blacks? Absolutely not. I don't believe because he would be a part of the established system, and it's up
Okay.
to the established racist system that controls all of it. So, I we will get to that, I guess, in a moment. But
Sure.
I believe we need to destroy those systems. So, can Kanye do anything within the system? Absolutely not. If he's running Republican, independent, I don't think even independent. He's still a part of the system. The system is broken.
Mm. Okay. Uh, my next question is if you can create the perfect candidate, what policies would they propose? Because we talked about how you're a Trump supporter by 30% because you think that he can shake up the system and you agree with some of his policies, but you also disagree with the Democratic policies. I think that everyone feels that there are certain changes that need to be made within both parties. I don't think that anyone is 100% in on either party. Well, most rational people, they're not completely 100% in where they agree with every single thing that their political party does. So if you had certain policies that you wanted a certain presidential candidate or president to set forth, what are a few of them? What would those policies be?
You asked me that question last week, and nothing has changed on that.
Okay.
I could not come up, even fathom, a perfect candidate
Okay.
when they would have to go be a part of the system. I just feel the system is completely broken. But I mean, in my wildest dreams, I guess the first thing would be economic empowerment. Period.
And how would
Period.
they do that?
How would they do that?
Well, what policies would you prefer that they enact for economic empowerment?
Um, Something I don't believe would ever happen is reparations. That's first and foremost. I don't believe it will ever happen. I think it's just propaganda because it's election time. So it's good if it's feel good talk. So I mean that would be first. But that aside, that's streaming. That aside, just programs, banking program. No redlining. Give us a fair shot at the American economic system. Give us a fair shot. We never had a fair shot from jobs to businesses to loans, car loans, you name it. We get redlined and screwed everywhere you look. So, I mean, the whole system is just broken. The whole system. So, how can I come up with a perfect candidate? My perfect candidate would get tarnished going within the system. It
Mm.
would be tarnished. So I wish I could answer it and say, but for me, economic empowerment, period, across the board. Because once you have economic empowerment, then you can build your own communities, you can build your own schools, you can educate yourself, you can grow as a people. So if it's not talking about economic empowerment for foundational
Mhm.
African Americans, that's my perfect candidate. That would be on the table. I understand he has to be a president. He or she has to be president of all people. But right now, I'm concerned mostly with my people, and I think that's the problem we're having. We're not holding their foot to the fire about our, in particular, goals, our dreams, and what we need. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party, no one has a mandate for us. No one. They're not saying anything, and we're not demanding that they say anything. We demanded nothing of Obama, nothing. So I mean, it's in particular our interest. That's the perfect candidate. That was I understand. Got to be a president of the people. I'm with that. So the system is just so broken in so many ways. I can't even fantasize a perfect candidate going within these two systems and changing anything or as independent.
Let me twist it a little bit. We're going to go hypothetically. We're going to say you have a candidate. He or she is completely independent.
Hmm.
They're not beholden to any party, and they have a legitimate chance of winning. I'm going to ask you certain questions about certain laws, and I want your honest opinion on them. Now, for the people that are watching, I want you to take these questions. You may need to write them down, and I want you to think of what policies you want a perfect candidate to put forth. And when we do the Q&A later, I want us to talk about them because we can't really, we can't fix a system because we really don't know what policies we want our leaders to have. We usually just pick the
Hmm.
lesser of two evils. We figure, okay, which policy is going to hurt us the least? But I wonder how often we say, these are the policies that we demand in order to gain our
Hmm.
vote, and this is how we can help ourselves. So I know we have a little bit of time, so before we do the Q&A, please write down your list of policies or changes that you think that a presidential candidate should put forth that you believe would benefit you, your people, the country, and on the larger scale, the world. So it's a slight homework assignment. So Jim, I have a couple of questions here. I'm just going to run through them based on this candidate. Again, it's made up candidate John Johnson. I don't know. But
Hmm.
all right.
Right.
The first question, in terms of marijuana, do you think that they should decriminalize it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's one thing that we can agree on. Okay. And do you feel that people that have been sent to prison for marijuana should be released?
Absolutely.
Now, what about other drugs? Excuse me. What about cocaine, heroin? Well, crack is a part of cocaine. Pill distribution. Do you feel that they should be released from prison as well?
If it was nonviolent,
Mm-hmm.
If it was nonviolent, it should be considered. Absolutely.
Now, do you feel that these laws should be? I'm sorry. Do you feel that these drugs should be legalized?
They should
Correct.
definitely, if it's the same thing, they should definitely be decriminalized. Absolutely. People need help. They don't need prison.
Okay.
They need help. So putting people behind bars because they got caught with something, they had a problem, they had an addiction, they need help. They don't need prison.
Yeah.
You understand? Even the ones who they were drug dealers, they need help.
Yeah.
They have no way out, so they go to the streets to make money. They're not
Yeah.
there because it's a glamorous life. They're there to make money, so they need help as well. So decriminalizing, absolutely, absolutely. The government is making more drugs, making more money on drugs than any street dealer can. It's the government that's making the real money. So yes, decriminalize it and give
Okay.
them help.
Give them help. Okay. Now, what about gun laws? Do you feel that we should loosen the gun laws so that we can make it easier uh, for people to get guns?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, after there's, you go through certain testing. Of course, I don't think everyone should have a gun, but do
Testing.
I?
What do you mean? Testing.
Well, not excuse me, not testing, but background checks. Absolutely, do the background checks. But no, I'm all for the right to bear arms. All for it.
Okay. So,
Absolutely.
what about like an idea that I had in terms of guns is I think that if you have a weapon, you should be forced to go through a psychological evaluation
Absolutely.
every 3 years.
Absolutely. I agree. I
And what
agree.
about, and this is another, I guess, law that a lot of conservatives tend to be in favor of. Uh, in certain states, I believe that Georgia is one of them. You can sell a gun at a gun shop, and you don't necessarily have to check for a permit. You can just literally go sell a gun to someone at a gas station. Do you feel that
Hmm.
that law should be changed?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do
Absolutely.
you feel,
I don't think it should be done. Really, if you're not going through the certain psychological and background checks, no, I don't agree with that at all.
so you
I
feel that it
do.
should be?
Go
Sorry,
right
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead,
I,
bro.
I, I was going to ask, do you feel that our gun industry should be regulated a bit more?
No, I don't think it should be regulated. No, not at all. Not at
So,
all. But I
so
do think there should be psychological testing. Absolutely, I do believe it should be definitely background checks. What more regulations do you need to put on it? What more? What more?
well, there's a few. Well, do you? I mean, one is you can't legally own any weapon. That would be one. Like I think in Kentucky, you can legally walk down the street with a flamethrower. Like I don't know if that's necessary, and I don't know if that should be legal.
Okay, but how is that any worse than a knife? Knife can
Well,
kill.
yeah, but
Knife
you have
can
to get a
kill
lot
people.
closer with a knife than you would with a flamethrower.
Yeah, but I'm just putting the onus on the person.
Yeah.
The person. The gun kills no one. Gun kills no one. It's the person. So, like I say, psychological evaluation, absolutely. Background checks, absolutely. But I think we all, as citizens, should be able to bear arms. And if you notice, it's the Democratic states that do not allow you to will not allow you to bear arms. It's a Democratic state, so that tells you that they're heavy in police favor, policing communities. It's the Democrats. Most southern states allow you to bear arms legally.
Yeah.
So I just think there would be less crime, really. If I've lived in Virginia, let me tell you, I have a permit to carry. I can carry in, I believe, maybe 42 states. It's the Democratic states that I can when you start heading up north. And one thing I noticed, let's say in Virginia in particular, you don't see too many incidents going down. Once they really put laws out there that you can bear arms all over the state of Virginia and open carry, you just don't see some of the things you see in the north. You don't see the home invasions. There's a lot of things you don't see. People don't know what you have in your house. And the road rage, people are very careful with road
Yeah.
rage in Virginia
Yeah.
because they don't know who they're walking up. So I think that's a deterrent right there in itself to
Mhm.
be a state, legal to bear arms state. So that's why I'm advocate of bearing arms. You know, a staunch advocate of bearing arms because I've noticed myself how it deters a lot of crime.
Yeah, it's so weird. I was so anti-gun until I spoke to my brother Joe, and Joe changed my mind on bearing arms, and now I have a gun permit.
Right.
I
Yeah.
definitely believe in responsible gun ownership.
Hmm.
I'm definitely a supporter of it, as long as it's responsible, as long as we're
Right.
getting these checks and people are using them to protect themselves and or for what they're for, not necessarily to just
Right.
go out there and harm people.
Right.
Uh, Now, what about? Well, we spoke about economic empowerment in terms of finance. So you're saying that you think that reparations would help us. What about other? What about other financial ideas? What about taxes? What's your view on the way that our tax system is run? Do you feel that we should increase taxes, decrease taxes? We should uh, change the way that our tax dollars are used. What changes would you make to our financial system? Again, you're creating your own candidate with their policies.
I would abolish taxes, period. I think it's illegal to take taxes from citizens. I would abolish it, period.
Well, taxes pay for our police, our transportation companies. They help pay for our educational system. So, what alternative would you come up with to pay for it?
I would pay direct. Um, we've had, let's say police. Let's go with police. Okay.
Sure.
Um, if we kept our taxes and did not pay for, let's say, police, defunded them, whatever you want to call it, just not have a police force any longer, I'm okay with that. I think we should pay directly. If we kept those taxes, we should pay directly into privatizing policing and to have that police force that resemble us, really, community policing.
No.
So I would say pay directly into the system. I would pay directly into a privatized police force versus I them taking our taxes and spending it on what they want to spend it. Most of the times you don't know where your tax money is going. You're paying for wars that you don't agree with.
Mhm.
So we're paying for a police force that's murdering us. That's murdering us. But if it was privatized and they start murdering us and we stop paying them directly, they would change. But we are right now, our tax money is going to a police force that's murdering us. How sick is that? So, not that it's sick, I'm sorry, but I just don't believe in because, yes, taxation is good for what? They're taking our money and spending it on things we have no clue about. So, I would like to go direct consumer to industry. Pay
So,
for your own privatized force.
what about things like Social Security, unemployment, the welfare system? Do taxes also fund those things? So, do you think that those things should go away as well?
That's a little different. That's a little different
Okay.
because it's assisting. So that's a little different there.
Okay.
It is helping people directly. Social Security is helping. We pay into the system. It is helping.
Okay.
Welfare is helping. So we do need these safety nets. So
Okay.
no, I just wish we had more control and more say over where our tax dollars went. We really don't. We try to have control over who we vote for. That's
Mhm.
our control. Well, we think this politician, if we vote for him, he's going to spend our tax monies this way. So I mean, the system is so broken. But no, systems like Social Security, Medicaid, welfare. No, I couldn't see any way of you know getting rid of that, abolishing that. I just couldn't see.
Okay. All right. Now we spoke of the police. Now, how would you fix? Well, you said that you would fix the issues of police brutality by privatizing the police force. I
Hmm.
think that in certain cases, some of the issues with police officers shooting unarmed people of color, in certain cases, I think that it has something to do with race relations. They may be afraid of black people. They may be poorly trained. They may not understand. So, what would you do to fix the race relations in our country?
Hmm.
Again, you're John Johnnington, presidential candidate, independent.
Well, first of all, I guess the psychological background check.
Okay.
They're coming in with some psychological problems if they're able to kill a human being as quickly as they are. So they do have psychological problems.
Okay.
And my biggest thing, when you privatize the force, you pretty much have control over that company, who they hire, who they don't hire, and what they're doing. You sort of have direct control over that. But training, Conversation? We've been talking for years. Years. Conversation for what? How do you how do you retrain racism? How do you retrain that? How do you have conversation on it? So I don't believe we can do anything with a racist mind. We can't do anything. You have them on the police force with power over people. Most of them, I'm sorry, I just see it a little differently. Most of them take pride in being racist. Cops in Newark, Irvington, I've seen them. They take pride in it. So how do you retrain that? I just don't think there's no way to retrain a racist to not be racist. What do you give them sensitivity, racial sensitivity classes? That's a joke. They're racist. Put them in jail. Put them under the jail. So I mean, and we with the police force, I don't know the exact name of it when it was first started, but the police force, my understanding was pretty much formed to chase slaves and in jail slaves. That was the whole concept of the police force and murder slaves. And guess what? How many years later they're still doing the same?
Mhm.
So the whole system, the whole ideology of the police force was to kill and track us down and kill us and then jail us. And they still have that same philosophy today. So how do you train that out of them? I don't think there's a way. So yes, I'm in for abolishing them completely.
Do
Like I
you
say,
think?
if you go right ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Please
No,
finish.
I'm just saying that's why I'm such an advocate of bearing arms. Because to me, I've never called the police for any reason. I've taken care of my own. I've never called the police. Yeah, they solved cases. I would keep investigators on to work with my privatized force. But how many they come after the fact? But if you're able to bear arms in certain states, a lot of this wouldn't go on. A lot of the home invasions, a lot of carjacking just wouldn't go on. So the police aren't there to stop that. But we know they're there. That's how they were formed to chase us down for free slaves and jailers. That's what the whole police department ideology was formed on, and they're still doing the same today. So I I have no use for them. I've never called a police a day in my life for anything.
And now, is that one of the things that you disagree with Donald Trump on? Because he's a big supporter of the police departments.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Like I say, there are just certain policies why I support the man. And Democrats push me 70% the way to him with the BS they have been serving us for years. You know, once you catch that the party you have been loyal to was raping you and doing all kind of despicable things, once you catch them, it kind of push you either not to stay out of it. That's what I would rather do. I'll be honest. I'd rather us not vote at all. And I think in our silence, not voting as a collective will save more than to say we're going Republican this time, we'll teach them, or we're going independent this time, we'll teach them. No, as a collective, don't vote at all. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad time to try that because neither one of them are here for us. Neither one of them are here for us. So, really, I don't think I'm going to vote at all. But my support, if I had to choose the lesser of the two evils, and, you know, doing that, we all are on the plantation because we're choosing which slave master is best for us. Really, I mean, to me, that's why I think so. I choose not to vote for either one of them, but support it would go with Trump right now. He is doing some things and he's passed some policies, and the Democrats pushed me to him. They really did.
Okay. All right. Uh, Two more questions. Again, for your
Hmm.
perfect candidate, how would you fix the educational system?
Once again, destroy the system. Destroy the system. I mean, I think of a brother Umar Johnson, whether you agree with him or not, but he's trying to take these black minds and re-educate them. Re-educate them. I mean, to who they are, where they're from. So I believe in self-education. Call it homeschooling. I believe in that. I believe unless we have an education system that we form ourselves, and I just think the system is broken completely. The system was never for us. I would say at the Newark School, when I first went to college, I realized that I was shorthanded in education from the North school system. And I remember the history books. We read about white culture, world history, white world history. And I would go to the school board meetings and raise hell that we need to change the books. We had one or two pages with Dr. Martin Luther King in it, and Malcolm X had a half a page. So I would go to school board meetings and I got thrown out. One time they wanted to arrest me from raising hell in there. And I was told by one of the presidents that you're not going to change this. This is what they want. These are the books they want. They are miseducating us. So there, he's a black man, president, and he's telling me there's nothing I could do. Just don't get locked up because they're going to lock you up the next time you come raising hell. So for a lot of years, I've been against the whole school system. It's a broken system. Until we decide that we're going to educate ourselves, I just don't believe we can go through the system to solve any of our problems. The answer is not through either one of these systems. The answer is with us. We have to find a way to self-govern, self-educate, and self-finance ourselves. That's it. That's it. Go right ahead.
No, I'm going to say, is it safe to say that you think that Donald Trump is just going to tear the system down and burn it down, and it's just going to have to be rebuilt because he's just going to tear it down so much? Would it be safe to say that that's kind of why you support him, because you think he'll just tear it up, rip it up, and then we'll have no choice but to rebuild it?
In a weird kind of way, yes. Yes, because he is anti-establishment. So I kind of like that. He's like, go out there, go on your own. I'm not going to help you. And I always said we did well. We do better under Republicans. We do better under Republicans. Why? Because they scare us to death. They make us get off our ass and do something. The Democrats, no, stay on your ass. Stay asleep. Remember King's dream. Stay asleep. That's where we want you. Just vote. And we'll give you a couple bones here and there. So whether Donald Trump is doing it for our benefit, absolutely not. But because of him, he's anti-establishment. So he's saying, get out there and do it on your own. Work the system. But like I said, we have to self-govern, self-educate, and self-finance until we get to that point. And neither one of these parties will ever do it. So we saw it with Obama. Having a black face there means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing, because I think Obama definitely made us a permanent underclass. So I'm anti-system as much as I destroy them all, and build our own from. And we've done it before. We had Black Wall Street when we were segregated. We had magnificent cities. They came and destroyed them. So I mean, really, I don't think we're going to be able to do too much on this soil, on the soil called America. I don't think we can. We did it with Black Wall Street. It wasn't just one city in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was many cities that were Black Wall Street. They destroyed them all. So I think on the soil of America, we will never be able to achieve what we're truly looking for. The system was not built for us. It was not built. So why we keep trying to force our way into it, or belong to it, or let's run through it? We got more blacks. It means nothing if the system controlled the black mind.
Okay. Now, I'm actually going to get ready to open up for the Q&A. But before I do, this is a question that I have for everyone else, and even for you. Not necessarily a question. It's more of a statement. I asked everyone last week, and I asked you, Jim, first. I asked you if there was anything that Donald Trump can do that would make him lose your support, and if there was anything that Joe Biden did that would make him gain your support. And I also asked the audience members if there's anything that Donald Trump can do that would make him gain our support, and is there anything that Joe Biden would do that would make him lose our support? And I think that everyone here said no. That was the response from everyone. And I think, in all honesty, it's short-sighted on everyone's part. Because if at the end of the day, if our goal is to advance, we should take to that advancement no matter who it comes from. So we may say, well, I don't like Donald Trump, but if Donald Trump says, you know what, I'm going to give every black person reparations, you're going to get your own land and you won't pay taxes ever. You'll be like the Native Americans. And you say, yeah, that's great, and that'll probably give me the means to do everything that I want, but I'm still not going to vote for him. And same thing, if you're a Trump supporter and Joe Biden says, you know what, we're going to completely reform and rebuild this police system. We're going to start arresting these police that are murdering unarmed people of color. We're going to economically empower people of color. We're going to decriminalize drugs. We're going to start letting people of color out of jail. And if you as a conservative say, yeah, that's nice, but no, I think that we're missing out on opportunities.
Right.
I think part of the reason that I had this show is we need to talk to each other. We need to listen to each other. We need to understand each other. And what I've been seeing is people have been hiding in their own trenches. So one trench is Donald Trump. The other trench is Joe Biden or whatever Democrat was running. You know, at one point it was Bernie Sanders. And we're not hearing each other. We're not listening to each other. We're not listening to the policies. We're so bent on proving that the other side is wrong that we're not looking at what's right for all of us. And maybe what's right for all of us is pieces from both of them. Maybe we can take pieces from both sides and say, you know what? I like parts of what both of you are saying. So now we're going to work on creating our own candidate. And these are the things that you're going to do because we've seen that this works. That's a part of why I asked everyone that question about the policies that their candidate would follow. The goal of tonight's show is slightly different than last week's. We need to come up with a platform. We need to come up with an idea that we want our elected leaders to follow. And I don't see one. I see that we're picking the platform that harms us the least, in our opinion. We're not necessarily going and saying, you know what, these laws need to change because these laws harm us. And if you're not going to do it, and if you're not going to do it, we're going to create a third-party candidate. And I'm willing to bet you that there are people from both sides that probably will agree with that, but we can't begin to work together on it unless we can come up with an idea for what we want. That's the main thing. What do we want? We're so worried about what our politicians tell us that we want or what they tell us that we need. Oh, you need tax cuts because it's going to hurt the small business. Okay, well, I work in the public sector and I think that taxes help me. Or, okay, well, you shouldn't have guns because guns are the main reason for school shootings. But you may say, well, I live in a rural area or I live in an area where I feel that guns are better to protect me. So we need to come together with the perfect candidate. We need to come together with our policies and what our goals are. We need to figure out what we want. Before that, I know that we had some questions for last week for Joe, some Trump supporter questions. So the format that we're going to use is the same as last week. You can submit the questions through the chat, or you can press the hand raise button. If you don't know how to use that, you press the three dots on your screen, whether it be on top or bottom, and there should be an option there that says raise hands. Once you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you, and you can ask your question or make your comment. Now, the rules from last week are the same. Jim is a dear friend of mine that I think that is very courageous for even coming on and being candid. And he's been very respectful. And I ask that everyone else show him that respect. So we need no name calling, no disrespect, no saying negative things about him. So if that happens, I'm going to have to cut your mic. Because again, we can have opinions, but we need to be respectful. We need to understand each other. And if we're name calling each other names, yelling at each other, disrespecting each other, are we really going to hear, or are we more concerned with just getting our point? So I'm going to open it up. So again, you can either submit questions through the chat or you can press the hand raise button. Let's see. Let me give it a couple of seconds. Okay. Here's a question from Joe. If the system is broken, then how would you recommend for one to choose the best candidate for the presidency?
That's a question. How do you abolish the system? I think it's that broken. I think neither one is worthy of our vote, truly. But if we remain on a plantation, and this is for me, I speak for myself, to even engage in this, I feel I'm engaging in plantation ideology, really, because we're choosing the lesser of two evils. So, unless I will say this, okay, let me find a way to fit in the system. Hypothetically, if we could come up with a candidate that is grassroots, I mean truly grassroots, from us, by us, and for us, grassroots, that we can grow financially, spiritually, we could grow and push through the system. I would be for that. I would definitely be for it. But to have an established candidate that's party related, this is how we vote on party lines. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I came on here to hopefully show us that Trump, as bad as the Democrats are painting him, and as bad as he may be, there are some good things in some of his policies. So we can't just be blind to the fact that even the other side can help us. This side, but for me, I don't believe in the system at all. If we can have a candidate that we built from ground up, grassroots, that's the only way I could see it happening. And I don't think, as Bernie Sanders learned, and he's an established politician, when he got that close to really moving into the Democratic base, they shut him down. They shut him down hard. So I don't think we would ever be able to have any one of us that truly has our ideology and our best interests, they would ever let get to that point to get to the presidency. I do not think there's no way they would let one that is truly for us get there. So I just don't choose to buy into a system that has never been for us. It really hasn't. But we have to stay balanced. This is the system we have. And like I said, I don't believe I'm going to vote, period, because I just refuse to vote for the least racist or the devil with the prettiest dress. I just refuse. So how do you do it? I, I I just don't believe in America anymore. I just don't. The system was never built for us. What do we do? Me personally, hell, I'm going to Africa. All of us don't believe that. That's why I said I'm building a bridge. I'm working with the Black Farmers Union to build a bridge to Africa to take their talents, whether it be via computer or physically, actually take their talents over there to help our brothers and sisters there who don't know how to farm. That is ridiculous. We used to build pyramids. We can't even grow a damn grape right now. This is where they have us. This is where colonization just took our mind. We're done. So I'm trying to form a bridge. Do everyone believe in it? No. Is everyone trying to go to Africa? No. I just don't believe on the soil of America we would ever put anyone in presidency that truly have our interest there. They will never allow it. Never allow it. So I hope I answered the question. I hope I went too long with it, but
You
that's
did.
how I feel. Okay.
There's one thing that I did notice. There's actually a difference from last week. You seem a little less gung ho about Donald Trump, but I think that part of the reason is because of the conversations that I think that we
Absolutely.
all had. I think
Absolutely.
that I think that we all learned from each other last week, and I think
Absolutely.
that a lot of our views shifted a little bit because those of you that were on last week, you saw how crazy the chat was. The chat was it was exciting to say the least. We had every second it was bing 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 bing. People were responding, but I think that we all learned from each other. Does anyone else have any questions or comments specifically about Donald Trump or Jim's support of the Trump presidency, his issues with Democrats, or his support of the Republican Party? This is a quieter group. Okay.
Well, that's beautiful. I tell you. No, but I hope it is because we have in dialogue. Because yes, I have changed myself, and this is why I told you would with pleasure come on, because I need to speak with us. I needed it as much as I guess we all need it to hear the ideas, and we all are hurting. We all are truly hurting, and here we are trying to choose the less of two evils. You got to be hurting, and this is where we are, because neither one of them are speaking directly to our interests. Neither one of them. So Trump, I just said, I know he's not doing it directly for my people, but my people can benefit off of And we, like I said, for some reason, when Republicans are in, we do better as a people. We are more on code as a people. Call it the Republican effect. I don't know, but we are definitely all more on code as a people.
Okay. All right. We have a question from Angel.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, I guess my question would be, is character as or less important than policies when it comes to a president? Like, is their character, how they carry themselves, what comes out of their mouth? Is that important, or is that like kind of on the back burner as far as a president is concerned, I guess?
How you doing, sister? And thank you for the question.
You're
uh,
welcome.
thank you. It's not even on the table with me. Character,
Okay.
because Trump in particular, he has not changed. This is what got him in office. He was saying even worse things when he was running, and it got him in office. So obviously, it's not on the table with anyone because if it was character, he shouldn't have been in the race. So absolutely, it's more policy that interests my people, or even if it doesn't directly interest my people, we could benefit off of it. So absolutely, character has nothing to do with it because he shouldn't even made it through the primaries if it was character. So for me, give me substance. Show me where you're about my our interests. I don't care if you go to Klan meetings. If you wake up in the morning and go to the office and you are for our interests, I'm going to deal with you. I will deal with a racist because we deal with a racist in Biden as well. So Trump, yes, I will deal with Trump. Is he a racist? If you're supporting a system and you're governing a system that's racist, you are racist.
I never
So
heard that before, actually, about Biden being racist. Can you elaborate?
his 1994 crime bill was very racist. Was very racist towards blacks. If it, I can't go into it all right now, but that, and when was it in '70s when they were heavy on integration? He said he would never
Mhm.
want his kids to integrate. He would never want his kids. These are his words. And Biden saying, if we vote for Trump or if we don't vote Democratic, we're not black. How dare you? How dare you? How arrogant of you? That is racist. I was done when he said that. So Biden has certain policies. Look at the 1994 crime bill. He did us in pretty good. Look at Clinton, three strikes. That did us in pretty good. And saying that he wouldn't dare have his kids integrate with us. So just those three things right there, his policy has shown he's a racist. Or he has racist policy. I hope that answers your question, sis.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
All right. You're quite welcome.
All right. The next question is from Joe. In your opinion, in what ways can we help develop that grassroots candidate that can best represent what we want in a president? Well, I'll answer a part of it first, and I'll let Jim answer it. A part of it is by what we're doing tonight, by coming
Hmm.
up with these ideas of what we want in a candidate, instead of just saying, well, this is what the Democratic Party wants, and this is what the Republican Party wants. I think that we have to figure out what we want. And then once we can figure out what we want, we can then get a candidate that represents what we want. That's a part of what the Tea Party was. The Tea Party, we thought that they were extreme, but in that part of the country, that's what those people wanted. And they, even though we don't have a Tea Party president, they affected change because they actually changed the shift of the Republican Party. Republican policies completely shifted toward the Tea Party. Not, I don't support them. I don't agree with all of their policies, but I think that that's the beginnings of it. But Jim, this is your question.
Um, I completely agree with you, bro. Because when I first heard the question, I looked at you. I said, "Here we are. We have a candidate right here, James Brown." No, seriously, brother. I mean, you're doing exactly what you have all the attributes we need in a leader. Seriously, it's grassroots. It starts here today. So when that question was asked, I immediately just looked at you and felt your energy. So it starts here, like you said. It definitely starts here, and we have to stop wanting to send our grassroots, I guess, for lack of a better word, leaders into a system. Why don't we just start a movement? Why do we have to be in a system? There are a lot of groups, immigrant groups here, that really don't vote, but they do move as a power base, economic power base. That's power. They have a movement versus trying to put a leader into this corrupt system that's going to eventually tarnish your leader. It can start grassroots, but once they get you on that national level and tell you what you have to do, you're going to compromise and you're no longer the grassroots leader. So, yes, it absolutely starts here. Why don't we form a movement and become a movement versus trying to fit into the system?
Does that answer your question? Okay. Corey has a question. How do we come together as African Americans to develop a common platform? We as a people are different now than we were during the civil rights movement, which leads to many different ideologies within the race.
I guess that starts once again with this platform. We have to have a national platform. We have to speak with each other and come up with an agenda. We're not going to do that being part of a system. We're definitely not, and we're not going to do that continuing a dream that King no longer believed in. But the Democrats, for lack of a better word, they pimped us pretty well with that dream. They did. King did not believe in that dream no more. He like I said, like he said, he was afraid he let his people integrate his people into a burning house. He knew before he died that what he did with integration um, was not just for his people. So I guess we have to somehow have a national platform, a national voting system within our own ranks before we even think about letting the outside hear it. We must find a way, and this is it, James Brown. You're doing it, my brother. But
Just
this
to let you
must.
know, I will not be running.
No, no,
Uh,
I know this, brother. But just here hosting this, my brother. The energy is powerful. Just being a host of this, we need to have more of this. But on a national level, we need to speak with each other and stop running on a dream and speak with each other. Like Corey said, our challenges are different today, totally different. The youth are totally different. They're not lying down anymore. So we can't discount them and say, oh, they're wild and crazy. They're fighting. If anything has changed, it's because of those youth, and they know they're not playing. So we have to incorporate them and listen to them. How do we do it? We're not going to do it going through the system. We have to build our own movement. Period. We have to build our own movement.
Corey, did that answer your question?
Um, kind of, but I guess we did.
Elaborate more, Corey. I'm here, brother.
How do we build that movement since there's so many different people? I mean, you have Black Republicans, Black Democrats, Black rich, Black poor. You know, we're not all just trying to get
right.
desegregation, for example. We have all different types of, goals, values, different families, regional differences. So how do we
I got you. I hope I can answer it. I hope I can simplify and just say this. Vote for your melanation, period. Or vote for your black interests, period. Don't come as a black Republican. Don't come as a black Democrat. Don't come black anything. Just come black. And vote for your interests in America, period. So put all your titles second to being black in America. Foundational, you want to call it foundational black, you want to go that deep with it. So I understand now, and my only response is to that, we have to vote our interests. We're black first. And everyone else on the planet sees us as black. So yes, I think that's the common thread. We could galvanize more with the common thread. And the common thread, we have melanin in us. We're black. So that's first. And we all know our concerns here, in America. We know our concerns. We don't have to have any studies or figure that out. So I'm not a black Democrat. I'm not a black Trump supporter. No, I'm a black man first. And until we see it that way and come as they did a good job, Corey. Let me say this. These are my opinions. Please, they're just my little opinions, and these only I'm expert at my little opinions. They did a great job at dividing us. They did an excellent job. I guess that's the Willie Lynch syndrome. They did an excellent job dividing us around the planet because we're black Republicans, we're black Masons, we're black Baptists, we're everything. But we normally say we're Baptists who happen to be black, we're Republican who happen to be black, we're gay who happen to be black. I think it's in reverse. We're black first, and if we just galvanize around that bond first and our unique circumstances here in America, I think we could really set off a movement, Corey, versus putting other titles ahead. But they did an excellent job at dividing us.
Corey, does that answer it?
Yep, that does. Yeah.
Okay. Angel, did you have a second question, or was your hand still up? Yeah, Angel, yeah. Yes, you. No,
Oh
your
God.
hand's up.
Oh my God. My hand was still up?
Yeah, so was it still up, or did you have another question?
I think it was just still up. I didn't know.
Okay.
Can you put your hand down? Is that a
Yeah, the same way as you put it up, click the same options and it
Oh,
takes it
lower
right there.
hand. Oh,
There you go.
my bad. My bad.
I know we're all learning this. We're all learning. That's how we get better. We help each other like we're doing in this show. All right, let's get to the next question. Here's you go. Larita, how can you say that you cannot change back racist? I don't believe that is true. Some racists are just ignorant and believe what they do because of their upbringing. Give patience, tolerance, and invite a racist can definitely be changed. Larita, can you kind of clarify that one for me? I just want to make sure that I'm getting it accurate.
Yeah, sorry. Some of it was just, the autocorrect was going a little bit crazy there. I was
Okay.
saying that, with the racist, what was said was that you cannot change the mind of a racist. I don't believe that's completely true. Yes, there are people who are just dead set on what they believe, but with giving insight, not invite, being patient, having tolerance, and giving them a different perspective on different races other than their own, and giving them intelligent information instead of opinions, because everybody has has an opinion like they have an a-hole. Everybody can have one, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. So with the racists, you can absolutely change their mind and bring them out of their state of ignorance by giving them the facts. Some of them, not all, but some of them, those who are willing to change and to listen. So that's why I was asking, that question as far as the racists.
So just to clarify, Larita, is that more aimed at the whole Joe Biden comment, or is that just about racists in general?
Just in general.
Okay.
In general, yeah.
Okay. Jim?
I guess I understand the question. I'll try to respond to it. How do you change the races? I don't know. I guess that's what got us on the boat in Africa and got us over here, because we trusted the racists. They promised us a greener pastures, I guess. So how do you change that? I don't know. But my thing is, I guess the first thing that came to my mind, I'm not here to appease them at all. I don't care if they don't change. I'm not here to have conversation with a racist. Stay a racist. I'm not a racist, but I believe in my people. So I don't care if they never change. I don't believe in them by no means. By party lines, I'm not going to believe in the racists because they're a Democrat. But to give them a chance, I think we've been giving them a lot of chance. 400 years, we gave them a chance to see who we are, and they still don't see us as human beings. We can't go down the street without getting shot in the back. How do you? What do we give them? Another 400 years? I just don't see it. Me personally, I'm cool with it. Stay a racist. Go right ahead.
I think that, I get what you're saying, but what I mean is, for those who were brought up racist, they had the racist mentality because their parents and grandpappy and great-grands or whatever taught them this way of life, and they do have the ability to say, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I can sit down and change. Like, there was a movie regarding a guy who was in the KKK, and his mind was changed by a black woman. So it's definitely possible. So what I'm saying is, how can you not say that a mind of a racist can't be changed and to not be willing to sit down with somebody who has a racist mindset, to me, doesn't help change anything. It's not going to be able to put in place where there is a possibility for change to come for
I,
those
I
future
understand.
generations.
Well, I understand. And once again, if you're racist, I could care less whether you change. I don't care. I truly go kick rocks. I don't care whether you change or not. Seriously. So I won't appease them by no means.
But
But go
no,
ahead.
I think I just need to clarify. I think that what she's more asking, now you correct me if I'm wrong, Larita, is if you would be willing to sit down with someone that you view as racist, if you think
Mhm.
that their views may help us, kind of the same way that you say that Joe Biden is a racist. So would you be willing to vote for him if he put policies forth that would help us or benefit us? I'm not
Well,
sure.
yeah. Well, I guess what I heard it. Yeah, I accept it, brother. But what I heard in her, how do you change a racist? She didn't say a politician. She just said a racist. Sit down and give him a chance. I refuse to give him a chance. Why? You're racist. I refuse. I will not bow down to you. I was not built that way. Trump, I will not bow down to. However, if the racists never change, that's not my job. We are loving people. We are kind, forgiving people. If we have not proven yet what you have done to us, we are still here and haven't tried to take revenge or do anything. If we have not proven yet that we're good people, I'm not giving them another 400 days to prove nothing to them. I'm sorry, it is not there. So, and in government, you're in the system and you're racist. I don't care to sit down with you or change your mind at all. However, if you can benefit my people, I will go to your clan meeting. If that's how we have to meet to benefit my people, yes, then I will sit down and talk to them. But to help change them and reform them and help them deal with their guilt, I'm not the one. Kick rocks. I'm not the one. But to help my people, I will sit down with any racist to help my people. So it's about self-interest that I even know that a racist exists. But other than to help them deal with their guilt, to help change them, I'm not the one. They need to go see a psychiatrist or something, or go kick rocks. I'm just sorry. I'm not being facetious, but truly in my heart, that question, my sister, you boiled something in me on that one. But it was a good question. I tell you, it got me boiling just the thought of appeasing them, listening to them. A racist? Never again. We listened for 400 years. I'm not giving them 400 more seconds of my life. So I have no use for them. If they can help my people, let's talk. But we should all be that way. If someone's not helping your interests personally or your people or your family, why are you even sitting having conversation with them?
All right, let's get to her second question. Larita's second question was, how can Dr. Martin Luther King's dream not be one for our upliftment? No, the system isn't anywhere near perfect, but it's better than segregation. The thing is, like you said, the youth will be the ones to change things, but we have to pour into them a positive mindset to move in a way that places them in position to change the system on their level, therefore leveling the playing field a bit.
First of all, I think integration was the worst thing ever happened to our people, period. My personal opinion. I mean, I could point out some facts where integration was the worst thing that happened to us. What integration did, King admitted it himself. I mean, they have us so full, mainly the Democrats, on this dream. We sitting here, but to dream, you sleep. And they have kept us asleep. King didn't believe in that dream no, before he died. This is why he was killed, because he wanted to start talking about economics for his people, because he was afraid that he's integrated his people into a burning house. These are King words. So the dream had stopped with King before he even died. But the Democrats did a good job, King peaceful, but they murdered him. Not the Democrats per se, but they always talk about peace with King. But let's remember, they murdered King because what he stood for. So integration to me was I'll just give one example why integration I say was the worst thing. Growing up in Newark, we had a couple of doctors on my block. and a gentleman that played with Count Basie. And he would sit me down, talk about music. I learned more from him and a couple of doctors than I learned from anywhere. I learned a lot from the street. I learned an awful lot from the street. But once integration said that you can go, you black doctor, you black scientist, get out of the hood, come into our communities. You can go. You belong here. Let's integrate. It took some of the best minds that we had in the cities. So what's left were the gangsters, the pimps. That's what's left. So integration took some of the best minds, but once it took the best minds and took them into the suburbs, they didn't have a great life. They had cross burnt on their land. They were chastised. They were looked down. So you took our best minds and took them into the suburbs and pretty much turned them soft. You really
Quick
turned them
question.
docile. Hmm.
Do you think that it was immigration that did that, or do you think that it was a
Oh,
personal
excuse
decision?
Jesus Christ. Did I say well, say immigration or
No.
integration?
You said integration.
Integration, all right.
Do you think that it was integration that did that, or do you think that uh, they decided to try something new? You know, in general, when you take a look at people, when they get to a certain level, they'll say, "Hey, you know what? I never did this before, so let me do what I never did. Let me experience what I never experienced." So do you think that it had as much to do with integration, or do you think that it was more of them saying, you know what, I have a chance to live this other life, and I'm going to take that chance and live this other life, or live the way that the other side lives?
Um, Once again, I just believe in self-governing, picking our own selves up. So when you take the brightest minds, they decided to leave on their own. But once they left, you took some of the brightest minds from those left behind. They have every right to live there, but how many? You might have one in a community of 1,000. They were not treated nice there. They were treated very badly. So it beats their spirit. You took some of our best minds and you took them, they were able to integrate. Where did that get us? Where did integration get us?
Well, I think that one of the main questions would be, where does accountability come from? Where's accountability in our neighborhoods? Like, you know, we lose a doctor. Why aren't we trying to replace them? You know, I
Well,
think that that's something that, you know, I'm really big on accountability, you know. So if,
well, why not
okay,
hold the doctor accountable for leaving? Let's hold him
well,
accountable for leaving. He
well,
has every right to leave his personal
mhm.
reasons, but let's hold him accountable. Why did you leave your community? Your community needed you. Why did you leave your community? Let's hold him accountable.
Well, they can spread out. They may learn other things, you know. But again, it's, where does our personal accountability come in? I think that it's a bad idea for us to say, okay, well, we lost one person, so we just sit here.
We
They
lost
left.
some of the best minds. We didn't just lose one. We lost all the doctors, all the scientists.
We did, but what did we do to repair that legacy? Like, for instance, I think that if someone runs a movement and when they die, the movement dies, I think that they failed their movement. So I think that, well, my question is, where does our community's responsibility come in? Why didn't our community say, hey, you know what? We lost some great minds. We got to build some new ones. We need to get some more doctors. Let's
And
start
what,
sending our
lose
children
them
back home.
also. And we'll lose them also. It was just a system of we can go be in the other communities. Let's leave. So let's, like you said, accountability. And sorry for interrupting, my brother,
Sure, no, go ahead, go ahead.
but when we're talking accountability, let's hold them accountable for leaving the communities. The communities needed them. So let's hold them accountable. Don't why are we holding ourselves accountable because we're left behind? You're blaming us for them leaving the community. Why not hold them accountable for leaving the community? They could have been such an asset to the community. They have every right to live where they want. Every right. But let's hold them accountable. You did leave your community. You got out the ghetto, but you did leave your community. So I just think integration was the worst thing. Whenever we're segregated, if you go in history, Black Wall Street, that was segregation. We do well when we work together. We do well when we're isolated and alone. We do well. I go back to King words. I'm afraid I integrated my people into a burning house. Take that as you may. I
So
mean, I
you,
think that says it all right there.
so you feel that we should resegregate? Just to make sure that I'm clear. Do you
Uh,
feel that we should?
you, you can use whatever word. We need to be on code and be with each other and pull our own selves up. Absolutely. You want to call it resegregation? Yes, let's do it. Let's work together. Let's depend on ourselves. Let's govern ourselves.
So you want us to, I guess, follow more of the Marcus Garvey type of mentality.
However you call it, if we're on code with each other and building each other and depend on each other, depend on our black banks. Let's put into our black banks. Let's get loans back from our black bank. Look at the black church. The black church give billions every weekend. To who? The white banks. Where are the loans going? Not back to us. So the black church, let's hold them accountable. Why aren't you banking with the black banks? Where we have somewhat of a chance, the community have somewhat of a chance of getting some of those loans, but they rather put their money in white banks.
But
Most of us not getting those loans, so let's hold the black church accountable as well.
there are organizations that are doing that. My uncle, before he passed away, was instrumental in creating an organization called Recycling Black Dollars out in
Hmm.
California. And what they did is they took black-owned businesses and they worked exclusively with each other. So these
Absolutely.
organizations are out there,
Hmm.
and it does allow us to rebuild our community. But I think that if we're going to rebuild our communities, we need to also work on social cohesion.
With
I
whom?
think that with each other.
Each other. Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think that that's definitely big. But
I don't
let me
think
get
we
back to
need
the.
to integrate with anyone. We need to integrate with ourselves, get to know us, get to trust us again. We got to forgive ourselves.
Well, I'm going to get to the rest of these questions because we still have the question about the candidate. Uh, iPhone, whoever that is, I can't. There's no name attached to it.
Me? Me?
Worsh, how's it going? Yeah,
All
that's
right.
you.
All right.
Worse,
I don't,
worse, worse.
hey, I don't have a question. I just got a comment.
Sure.
Doing a great job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Wish you much success.
Thank you.
And Jim, I got your back. If anybody want to beat you up, you know, and you need a leader, I'll lead the movement.
No doubt. No
All right.
doubt. Thank you,
That's
bro.
it.
Thanks a lot, Worsh. That's the worshipful master of Friendship Number 44 Masonic Lodge. And that lodge, the lodge itself does a lot in the community. And I really appreciate him coming on. That lodge has done a lot just in Jersey City. That's actually how I met Jim.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. And I just had to add on to that with Worship Master Allen Evans coming on. You gave me a lot of accolades for working in the community and what we're doing in the community. I couldn't have done it without our worship master Allen Evans, seriously, because he spearheaded the whole movement. You know, I was there just to help. So I guess that's part of community development. Talking about our lives, what we're doing there. We're doing a lot of great things in the community. And I just put together an initiative. We're putting together an initiative that's asking for donations throughout the state of New Jersey from everyone. I don't care what you can donate at this time, from all the corporations. Donate what you can, and we will give it to the community. So that's one of the programs we are starting now under Al Evans' leadership. And we also have sort of, you call them Pythagoreans, it's sort of a Big Brother program, which is very
for,
important.
for Corey, like Sigma Beta Club.
Yeah,
So,
yes, yes, yes. So, but it's very important. But it's very important for the black youth that we have that because the Big Brother program was kind of good. We didn't see it much in our community, but this is something else we're doing at Friendship Love. We have sort of a Big Brother program. It's called something else, and that's headed by our dear brother Jermaine Sanders, who we were talking about, who just lost his mother. So we're doing a lot of things. So this is what I'm talking about when I say let's pick ourselves up by the bootstrap. We're doing it. I'm doing it. You're doing it, brother. We're doing it through this lodge. We have a lot of programs going on. So we're not just talking it. We're living it.
Did I
You
say
know.
something?
So brother Al Evans, worshipman, thanks for coming on.
Did I say something else?
sure.
Um, uh, we're giving Davion Noble, we're giving him $500. So it'll probably be this Tuesday. I'm trying to see what's up with the building. So I'm just waiting for his father to get back to me.
Yes.
And, I know the Grand Council's giving him $1,000. They, so I
Yes.
don't know if we're gonna give that to him, but we're a friendship. We're gonna give him 500 on
Yes.
For those,
And
for,
go right ahead.
sorry, for
his.
those of you that don't know, the young man that we're talking about was actually a part of the Knights of Pythagorean organization, which is a mentoring youth group. and he graduated from high school, and the lodge, as well as the Grand Lodge, gave him money to get him ready for college. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
I
what,
just believe in pulling ourselves up by our own bootstrap. It's us. I want to integrate with my people. Call it segregation. Call what you want. I love my people, so we can do it. I mean, look at our spending. What were they saying? $1 trillion. We have that kind of purchasing power. Are you serious? We can't pull ourselves up by a bootstrap. Why are we going begging for loans? We have it. We have the money. We have the knowledge. Why are we going begging? But we're trying to fit into systems. Let's fit into our own system, our own movement. I just can't. I won't settle for anything else. So no, I'm not here to appease the racists, to help them change. No, that's not me. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm done. I want to go with my people. I want to believe in my people. Call it. Some people call me racist for saying that. Call it whatever. I love my people. Okay, I'm for my people. So whoever, racist or not, if you have my people interests at heart, I will sit down with you. I will sit down with you. So sorry, I didn't mean to go in a different direction. I hope
It's all right. It's all right. Thank you, Worshipful Master Alan Evans. And Angel, she had a question, or is that the same hand up? I just want to make sure.
Yes, no, I did it on purpose this time.
Okay.
Uh
All right. Okay.
I know you said talking about racism kind of gets your skin boiling or your blood boiling. But I just want to pose a question, kind of a comment. Do you believe that racism is taught, or do you think that's something, I don't know, that you inherit genetically? How you can learn, like, for example, I think racism is taught at a young age, and it just becomes second nature to a person. And then when they're an adult, they don't think twice about it. It's just something they've always known. They've always been taught. If a person were to be taught that 3 + 3 = 7 from their younger age, and they go all the way up to adulthood, and then someone tells them, well, 3 + 3 actually = 6, could they unlearn that the same way they could unlearn being a racist? Or
I got
yeah.
you.
You know.
Yeah, I got you. No, I got you. No, I got you. I completely understand. I guess they're gonna learn it. I'm not here to teach them. I can tell you that. I don't have time to teach them, so that's first. So I really have no time for it. I have no patience. I have no sympathy for racists. Nothing. Is it taught? Of course, because when a 2-year-old white child and a 2-year-old black child can play together, they don't know racism. So of course it's taught. We know it's not genetically. We're not predisposed to it, because if we were, they would know that we are the dominant gene. That's scientific. That melanin skin is a dominant gene. So if it was if it was predisposed in us genetically, they would know who. And I think that's a lot of why there is racism. Once again, when I hit college, it woke me up. I met an African professor who taught me a lot about racism and being black and why there is racism. Then I was never angry at a racist then. Once I learned, they hate us because they know us. They know how powerful we are. This is why they hate us. We don't know how powerful we are. So once you learn that, I understand why you hate us. You know what this skin is. You know what this hair is. You know what the soil of Africa is. So I know why you hate.
Like a jealousy or a hatred?
Of course, a hatred if they know you have the dominant gene. That soil is dominant. I mean, and this is scientific. It is scientific. You know, I'm not going to go too far into that. But, yeah, once I learned why they hated us, it wasn't because we were bad. They knew just how good we were. They know us. We don't know ourselves.
Whoever taught the racism knew it, but not necessarily the child.
Well, we don't even have to worry about what they taught them. It's what they put into our minds to make us hate ourselves. They made us hate ourselves. Hell with the racists. We hate ourselves. We don't need a racist around. We do a good job on our own. So they know us that well. They know how to They made us hate ourselves. So who's the worst? The racist or the black who hate himself? Who's the worst? But they did a good job on both sides. So can it be untaught? Hell, I ain't worried about unteaching the racists. I'm worried about unteaching our own mindset. That's destroying us. We're destroying each other. We don't need a racist to do it. So I don't mean to sound cruel, but I don't give a damn whether they get untaught or not. I don't give a damn about their guilt. They want to say sorry now. I don't give a damn. I care about my people. So let's unteach each other. Let's learn to love each other instead of trying to unteach them and get them to love and accept us. I don't give a damn whether they accept me. You got something for my people? I like you. Let's talk. short of that, I don't give a damn about your life. Seriously, you want to help my people? Let's talk. But I ain't going to teach racism. No.
Larita, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to get to the question that I actually put in the chat. I'm going to get to my next question after, because I think it might set Jamal a little bit. But,
You're trying to, I'm sure.
The other two, the two comments / questions that I had, I'm going to just read it. I wrote, it is going to take a mindset reset to keep those best minds to stay in our neighborhoods. So why not they're wanting to better themselves and to be safe, quote unquote, in another community? Because the communities knock them and belittle them and abuse them, and so yes, they leave. I say this because I've been judged because of my verbiage. I was told at a young age that I talk white. Like a guy actually came up to me.
Well, hang on, just to cut you off for 1 second. We do have an episode about that called "Am I Black Enough?" But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so they we get teased and abused and saying, oh, they think they're better, or robbed, because they know we may have better things in the house. So why knock the people for wanting to leave that negative environment to put themselves in a better situation, not necessarily a white community, but a better community, rather than staying where they're being abused?
Okay, my sister. You don't think they got abused in that white community?
That was a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to put it to
our neighborhood.
You don't think they got abused in that white community?
Quote unquote our neighborhoods or the hood.
Oh, they got abused in the white community as well. Okay,
I know this, but what I'm saying is, why knock them for wanting to move from the lower income community into a higher income community, not necessarily an affluent white community? It could be an affluent black community or a mixed community. Just leaving. Why knock them for leaving a community that's abusing them? And as you said, those better minds are the best minds are leaving. Why knock them for wanting to do better? Because some of them do actually come back to the communities to pour into, even though they left. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I understand. I guess no, you have a good point. Who wouldn't want a better life? We all do. It doesn't have to be a white community. It could be a black community. But I will say this to that. Because they left, did the community turn to a ghetto because they left? Had they never left, maybe the community would have never abused them or became as violent and as bad. So, I guess it's cause and effect. Because they left, it turned that way. Had they stayed, maybe it wouldn't have turned abusive. So, but when we're talking about us as a people and accountability, yes, you went to better pastures, or you thought it was greener pastures, but you have to take responsibility. The community is where it is, if you care about your black community, because you left. So, I looked out for my family, but I left the black community. So they have to be accountable as well. Do I understand why they left to move to a white community? Absolutely not. I don't understand that. I choose to take my talents and make my schools better, to build stores and communities. Go right ahead.
No, I completely understand that, and I commend you for doing that. But what I'm saying is, with the people that, I wouldn't necessarily blame the people who are leaving to say they're the reason why it's a ghetto or it's a hood or whatever, or it's a lower income, ignorant community. It may already be that. That's what I'm saying. It's already that. What needs to happen is that the mindset of the people that are giving out this abuse and giving out this negative energy, they're the mindset that needs to be changed. And it shouldn't be placed on the people that leave and want to make a better life for themselves. Because like I said, those people do come back.
But my sister,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to, while we're on the point, I just want to catch you while we're on the point. Um, why are they that way? They have no guidance. The guidance left. So we have to take some ownership that we left.
Hmm.
So we have to say we're sort of responsible that they're that way.
And can I?
I mean, go right ahead.
I'm so sorry. Can I just interject a little bit? I actually agree with both of your points. You're both right, in my opinion. But I also think that there were other influences that affected our communities.
Right, of
So
course.
you think
Right.
about it. We had the Black Panthers that were doing things in our community, which helped to
Right.
create WIC, which created our defense programs. But the federal government used COINTELPRO to disrupt that.
Hmm.
You had certain things that were going well in the Black community, and then Vietnam happened, and you took a lot of Black men out of the household, Black, Latino, and not just us, white men, just men around the world out of the households. A lot of them came back with PTSD, mental health issues, and drug addictions. That affected our communities. And then after that, once we started to get a little bit more established, crack hit,
Right.
and crack hit us like a tsunami. I
Hmm.
mean, we all lived through the crack era.
Yeah.
It's difficult to explain to people now what that was like, and I think that destroyed our communities. And I think that it would have been great if they would have put if those doctors, lawyers would have stayed. It really would have been, but our communities were also turned into a war zone, and it was turned into a war zone by people that are more powerful than us.
Right,
So I
right.
also understand why they left, because they were probably saying, hey, you know what? I have to protect my family too. Because if I stay in this community, I might get killed. I might get addicted to drugs. I might succumb to that. So I think that both sides of the argument are right. Uh, but I think that we should more focus on going forward. Okay, those doctors are going. Cool. No problem. This is why we need to come up with a platform. We need to come up with what we want. Those doctors are going, great. What did they have in our community? What were they teaching us? What were they giving us? So once we can figure that out, we can say, okay, hey, docs, can you guys come back and create these programs? Hey, can you work with our young people so that we can create another generation of docs? Can we take a look at what's destroying our community so that we can fix it, rebuild it, gentrify it ourselves,
Right.
and then fix it? I think that would fix it more than, I guess, kind of going back and forth over if them leaving affected the community or if them staying would have affected the community. I think that us re-gentrifying our own communities ourselves
Right,
now, going forward,
Right.
will fix it.
Right.
right. And the dialogue was needed. It
Yeah,
was cool with it was cool going back and forth because we needed that. I started
yeah,
to understand her more, where she was coming from, and I can hear some pain in what she's saying. I could hear some personal pain in what she's saying. So it was good. We were vibing there, and I heard the personal pain. So she's coming from a personal angle. It's not, so it's cool, but we have to go back because it's
Right.
not going back to the hood. The hood is just a place we call a hood. It's going back to our people. Like Corey asked, how do we do this? How do we come together? We have to. We have to go back to the gangbanger doctor. We
Mhm.
have to go
Mhm.
back to the street people who's just trying to feed their children. We have to go back. We can't say we're too good, but they have taught us that we're not too good. I don't care how much money you got, you're still a whatever to them.
Right.
I think we have learned that. So and like you said, Brother James, you said it well. There's an invisible hand in everything that happens with us. So the doctors didn't just leave on their own. The scientists didn't just leave. The ghetto didn't turn into a ghetto on its own. We don't make guns. We don't make the drugs. So it
Right.
didn't happen on its own. So there's always that's something bigger we have to get to and stop calling everything conspiracy theory to accept that there's a visible hand involved in all of this in our condition. I just happen to be at the point where I feel the invisible hand was the Democrat. Truly. No, I
That's
truly do.
actually leading to my next. That was my first initial question. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. That
Yeah,
I
you good.
knew.
Oh, you knew where I was
Whenever I
going.
said
So yeah.
yeah, because I was like, it seems like when you talk about things that have been happening in our community, that you're always blaming, per se, the Democrats and everything that bad that's happened. Like, why do you feel that it's always the Democrats? That was how it seems to me, that it's always
Okay.
the Democrats. So can you
Okay.
just elaborate and explain that feeling?
Yes, 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 because they were dirty. And I'll tell you why. the Republicans don't give a damn about us either. So don't don't let my little support of some of Trump policies. I'm not a Republican, never registered, never voted, never will vote for one. You know, even Trump now I wouldn't vote for. You know, we have too much pain, and I can't just disguise the pain and pull that lever. I just can't get to that point, even though over Biden. So the reason why I do that, the Republicans have hurt us. They don't give a damn. It's the Democrats. The reason why I got it out for the Democrats because we believed in them so much. As a people, we just grandma, mom, we just believed in them, and they disguised their game. And I guess that's if you saw the last show, it was about dealing with straight up racist versus the conniving snake. I have more of appreciation for the straight up racist. So that's some personal. That's my personal pain. Just living life. As I traveled to the South, I dealt better with the straight racists, and we're cool with them down the South because they knew who I was. They knew I wasn't backing down. We could go at it at any moment, but a lot of times we sat and hung out and had beers. They wouldn't hang out with my cousins who were from the South because they had a different mentality. The racists knew I wasn't playing with them. They tell me they're in the Klan, I'm in the Black Panthers. Cool. You know, after we have this beer, we might be trying to lynch or kill each other later. But I can deal, that's just me coming from the streets of North. I can deal with a straight shooter. Even if you're a racist, the Democrats are snakes. They pretended to be our friend, our uncle. And they were the invisible hand. And the reason why I said it, we trusted them more. Look at our condition. After slavery, post-slavery, we owned what, a half of a half a percent of the nation's wealth. Guess where we are today? Same thing, same percentage. We have not grown at all in the nation's wealth or resources, not at all. And Democrats have been our uncle. Where have they taken us? They gave us goods where we don't own anything. We don't control anything. So it's that sly uncle and the Democrats I detest. You know, Uncle Sam and Donald Trump, he's a straight shooter. You know who he is. And we will come together because he's not going to do nothing for us. That Democrat was our friend. And where are we? We still own a half a percent of nothing. We own nothing. We control nothing. So how has that gone, being a Democrat? How has it gone? At least Trump, one thing, and the Republicans, they're about money. But we're in a capitalist system. If you're not talking money, we're lost. And this is why King, in my opinion, was murdered. He started to talk about money. And they told him, King, we have to leave you. The same people that were marching with King, the Democrats, they stopped marching with him when we started talking about money. Economic empowerment, why are you leaving us now when we're talking money? And we know the Democrats, certain religions and all that's in Democrat, they know money very well. Why didn't they teach King about money? Teach your people about money. That gets you out of your problems. They taught King nothing about money. So this is the problem I have with Democrats. And I believe they turned us into a permanent underclass from what Obama did and Biden. Every group went ahead of us. We spoke on that last time, and some people had a question: why would I consider the LBGT a minority? It is a protected group. They do have special privileges we don't have. So the LBGT, the immigrants, women, everybody moved up. Everybody moved up. We became a fourth class citizen. When you talk about getting money from the government, protection from the government, we're here. That happened up under the Democrats. We became a fourth class citizen when you talk about getting resources. We're not even on the map anymore. And that bothers me. That's another point, Democratic. Once again, when you look at the Black Lives Matter, I may stir up a little heat on this, but so be it. I have no use for them. No use for them at all. No use. I know who they're started by, Democratic George Soros. That's who they started by. If you know his history, he's a very evil man. Very divisive. He's a very good manipulator. That's who's funding Black Lives Matter. That's who's funding. And if you look at what they stand for, their whole platform, nowhere in there is the heterosexual black male or the black family. So that's a democratic movement. That's not our movement. That's democratic. That's ran by George Soros. So
Wasn't I could have
George,
sworn that wasn't the Black Lives Matter started by two women of color?
who was it financed by? George Soros. Of course, they're gonna put a black face on it. Of course, the person who runs it
No,
is.
meaning like these are the two women who came up with the concept of Black Lives Matter. Two women of color.
That's what we
Yes,
were
it
told.
may, like what you're saying, it may be funded by whoever this. I don't know. I can say when I don't know something. So
Hmm.
I don't know who the person is that you're speaking of, but when you're saying as long as they're helping our agenda, didn't you say as long as they're helping our agenda, you're cool with it? Like, so I don't. It's kind of a conflicting statement now that you're like, I'm not with Black Lives Matter at all because of who's funding it.
Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. Let me take some of the conflict out of it. How's that helping our interests when you're not talking black family? You're not. You're talking
How
immigrants.
is it
You're talking gay. Where's the black family in it? Where's the black
for
family?
Black Lives Matter?
Yes, where's the black family? That is not their agenda. You do not see black family. Nothing about. I mean, I guess they claim the fame was black men dying and getting shot. They do not support any heterosexual black heterosexual interests, not at all.
I
I
think
put that aside. I don't care because I don't want to be gender specific. Support the black family. If you're not talking black family, how is that helping our cause? And when it's being funded, whoever funds it controls it. I don't care what face they have on it. Whoever funds it controls it. But the whole mandate it has nothing to do with the black family. That's the problem I have with Black Lives Matter. It's those
if,
immigrants in there. Go right ahead. Sorry.
if I can interject, I don't think that the goal of Black Lives Matters was the black family. I think that their specific goal was people of color being murdered by the police. I think that was their only agenda. I've never heard them say Black Lives Matters uh, in terms of police being in terms of police brutality and the black family and black economics and black finance. I think that with them, their only agenda that I've personally ever heard from them has been police brutality. Now there are other groups that have joined in with them. Like I went to a Black Lives Matters rally, and for one, 95% of the people, or 85% of the people that were at the rally were white, which was a bit shocking to me. I mean, great, if you want to support the cause, great. But I was a bit shocked but when I got there. And then I saw that the call was Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matters. And then you had another group of people coming out of nowhere and say, oh, Black trans lives matters, which not to say that they don't, because they definitely do. But I think that at times you may have two different groups that may be kind of piggybacking off of the
Infiltrating.
organization. I can't even say infiltrating because you can say that Black Lives Matters and Black trans lives matters. I don't think that they have to be mutually exclusive. I think that you can feel that both matter because I think that both lives matter. I think that Black lives matter. I do think Black trans lives matters. I think that women's lives matters. I think that the original concept of Black Lives Matters was Black Lives Matters too, and that's what I think they should have said initially. Is that not more? It's that not only it's they matter too. So I think that when the Black trans lives, they kind of jumped on and say, "Hey, yeah, well, Black trans lives matter too." But I think that we, in a sense, almost give them too much credit. They've done a lot of work, but I think that,
They did a lot of work for who?
well, in terms of bringing awareness, they definitely have
To
brought a lot
what?
of awareness
To
to
what? We
police
we we we
brutality.
we saying we're saying that ourselves. We didn't need them for that. We see it ourselves. We don't need them for that.
But I think that they brought a lot of awareness in terms of the marches. Like I said, I was at one, and I saw white girls jumping in front of black guys when the cops were getting too close to them to try to protect them, which I hadn't seen before. And again, they're starting the conversation. We can disagree with their policy. We can feel that they should have gone a different direction. We can feel that they should have done more, but they're at least starting the conversation. Now, what we do with that conversation is on us. We can take that conversation anywhere, but they're starting the conversation, and it's now being brought up on a national platform.
I I hear you, my brother. I'm just a hardliner when it comes to who's funding us. And when you have these other interest groups coming in, co-opting, co-opting, which they are, I call it infiltrating. Okay, I don't want to hear Black trans lives matter. I don't want to hear Black gay lives. I don't want to hear Black church life. Black. That's it. If you're not, I just can't be a part of anything that's not supporting the Black family, the united Black family. When you divide us, Black trans, Black Democrat lives matter. When you divide us, once again, Corey, that's the separation. We're coming as Republicans, trans, gay, this and that. No, we're Black family. That's what I don't care for the slogan, Black Lives Matter. That's pathetic that we need a slogan to say our damn lives matter. I'd rather show you my life matter. So I think that's disgusting having a slogan, Black Lives. I got to tell the world my life matter. I'll show you my life matter. But always follow the money. If it's not one of us financing it, be careful of what you're a part of. I mean, really, George Soros, most of us don't know his background and who he really is. He has been one of those forces, those invisible forces that has divided us. He is democratic. So I mean, we must educate ourselves on who he is first. Find out. I don't care who they put in front of the store. They can put as many Black women. Oh, they started. No, they didn't. Whoever funds the program runs the program. Period. You can't get around that. So my thing is, I have no use for them at all. They're not
Well,
speaking Black family.
okay. Well, we have one more. We have another question because I still do want to get to the question about creating our candidate. I have a feeling that we're probably going to have to finish this conversation on social media because I planned on this show being an hour tonight. We're already an hour and 48 minutes in.
Wow.
So Larita has one more question. Again, we're going to probably continue this conversation on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. But I'm going to ask Larita's last question, and I want to try to run through everybody's views on a perfect candidate to see if they line up. Larita's question is, Jim, it seems that there is a trauma that makes you have feelings. I'm sorry, makes you have the feelings you do about non-people of color. What happened to make you so hard, per se, when it comes to feeling this way?
I love my people. I love my people. I don't hate anybody else. I love my people. I know how every race in America has treated my people. So I have no forgiveness to them. I have no forgiveness. You can come as an immigrant. You know the story. Oh, we can manipulate, infiltrate, and profit off of these Black Americans. So I don't hate anyone else. I love my people. And what's wrong with that? If we had more of that, we wouldn't be in a condition. We're always trying to belong and forgive others and be a part of them when we need healing ourselves. We need healing ourselves. We cannot go look to anyone else for our own healing. So I'm not here to forgive a racist. I got to forgive my brother for harming his own race. I got to forgive myself for leaving or not doing. I'm trying not to make up. I'm trying to get my hands dirty now and uplift to be a part of it all. So, no, I don't down any other race. They don't need our help. They're doing well. Most of them are doing very well. They don't need our forgiveness. We need to forgive each other. So, my love of my people is why. What? Like I said, I don't hate any other race. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I just love my people. So I hope that answers the question. So we need healing ourselves. We can't go out and try to heal the world. We always heal others and forgive others and rub them when they're feeling bad about their racist views. And we don't forgive ourselves. If we did something to one another, we're hardcore. Like maybe at the first show, they came hard on me. I read some of the comments. They came hard. Instead of saying, he's a brother, let's listen to him. Maybe he is sick in the head. Let's listen to him. Let's help him. Instead of coming so hard, we don't forgive each other.
I think one thing that I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that one thing that did happen is I even saw your political views change during the course of the two shows.
Right.
Like it shifted because we had this conversation and
with my people, absolutely.
And that was really the goal of this, is for us to listen to each other. And look, we saw change within each other in real time from a show.
Right.
from us having this platform and from us having this conversation. And that's why it was so important. What I really want to get to, we got a few minutes left, is I want to get to the policies of our dream candidate. I'll go first because I'm pretty quick. For one, marijuana legalized. I think that it should be legal. I don't think that you should be jailed for it. I think that it should be regulated. I think it should be taxed so we can make some money off of it for the economy. I feel that if you've been sent to prison for marijuana, and as long as you committed no other major crimes, should be legalized, you should be released. In terms of gun laws, I am in favor of us owning weapons, owning guns, as long as we go through the proper process. We have a tracking system throughout the country so that we know who has what guns. I also feel that we should expand the mental health programs that we have available. So you should have to take a psychological evaluation every 3 years, in my opinion, just to make sure that you didn't change mentally. In terms of education, that one would take a while to explain. But in terms of education, I think that we should put an emphasis on family again, on families educating themselves. We should put an emphasis on educating the parents. We should also put an emphasis on critical thinking. I think that education nowadays focuses more on retention than critical thinking. It's understand this book, not this is the story that this book tells. What can you extrapolate from that? How can you expound on that? Okay, great. Now I need you to create something for us. I need you to come up with a new thesis or a new syllabus so that we can pass this down. In terms of healthcare, I would love the idea of us doing single payer, the way that they do in other countries. But I would also love for us to emphasize health, eating right, exercise, sleep, taking care of ourselves. I don't think that we put enough emphasis on that. I think that we have a sickness system, not a healthcare system, not a wellness system. So I would put an emphasis on that. Race relations, I think we need to have conversations. And I think as a president, I think our president should do kind of what Barack Obama did. When the police officers arrested Henry Louis Gates, he was upset. He said that they acted stupidly, but he then said, you know what? How about we sit down and we have them together, they drink a beer, and they talk about what happened. As a president, I would hope that they would do that. In terms of police, I would hope that the president would introduce new reforms where, for instance, if a police officer is charged with police brutality or murder, they have to go through a special prosecutor. They don't get to go through the same prosecutor that everyone else goes through, that they work with. In terms of finance, I think that we need more education in financial literacy. I think that if people are educated in financial literacy, they can make more money. They can understand more money. And I also think that we should do a lot more investing in businesses, not the old ones like coal and manufacturing, because I don't think they're going to exist in 10 years. I think that we should put more of a focus on the businesses that are coming and businesses that are really popular overseas. And in terms of security, I have to get back to you on that one. So who wants to go first with their perfect candidate? You can raise your hands, say me in the chat, take your mic off. Everybody's so quiet.
Where my two sisters at with all that talk? Come on now. I know that. I know my two sisters got a perfect candidate now. Come on.
I saw you all writing, so just policies that you think that you would love for this candidate. It doesn't have to be the ones that I presented. Just policies that you think that this perfect candidate should present.
I'll go. I wrote, in addition to what you were saying, student loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
And be able to eliminate that.
Yes.
I think one of y'all mentioned reparations.
Yeah, that was Jim.
Yeah, Jim mentioned reparations. Definitely in agreement with that. And then also just police reform, man. Something to stop them from killing us. You know, I don't know what that looks like specifically, but I think that that's something that the president should be looking at, because it's a huge concern for us. If it's a we problem, it should be a problem for him or her as well. So I would just add those three things.
Thanks, Joe. Angel, you were getting ready to go.
Yes. I agree with you as well, James. I meant to tell you, James Brown is just, wow.
Thank you.
I was like, James Brown? Like James Brown.
Yes, the actual.
The one and only. But like you said, decriminalizing marijuana, and anyone who is in prison for that should be released if they didn't have anything else added on. And if, what did I say? Oh, prisons should be focused on rehabilitation more than punishment. Lower college tuition. It is very doable. I met this guy overseas, and he said that they don't pay for college. I think he's he's in Europe or Spain. But it's very possible. I think charging students $60,000, $130,000, $30,000 a semester to just get an education is a little extreme. So also rehab for drug convictions. So if anybody goes to jail for anything other than marijuana, and they may be addicted, I feel like they should, instead of going to prison, they should go to a rehab to help them. So if they get out, they don't go back to, what got them in the first place.
Sure.
I also think there should be no cost for skin-to-skin contact, among other things, for women after they give birth. I found this out recently that if a woman, after she gives birth, if she wants to hold her child for that skin-to-skin contact, that they will charge crazy amounts of money for that.
$150 or something.
Yeah, and I just think that should be done away with. I really think giving birth should be free, but lower prescription drug prices. Big pharma is a monopoly and a killer. Pharmaceuticals, they help, but most times they just it's chain drugs. So like, you take this, you're gonna need it for that, and because this will happen, and then you'll need this pill for that side effect, and need this for that side effect, and just keep going. And then they'll charge you $400, $500. I've seen like $1,000 prescriptions for these medicines that these people need. And I just think that should be lower. I think there should be prison time for officers who kill unarmed civilians. Go to prison. And I don't think it should just be for anything lower than double digits, because that's how they treat other civilians who murder and kill other unarmed people. I don't think a badge should protect you from anything.
Sure.
I think possible higher taxes, because from what I studied from other countries, is that higher taxes leads to basically free everything else: free healthcare, free transportation, free colleges, all these things that we here in America pay on a daily basis. If there are higher taxes, it could be less expensive to almost free. So that's another one. And do away with the Electoral College. I don't like it.
I like that. There's one other thing that I forgot to add that I'm not sure if the rest of you would agree with. In terms of education, we should also put an emphasis or re-emphasis on trades. We put such an emphasis on college, which I think is also important, but we also need trades people. You still need electricians, you need plumbers, you need welders. Welders make like $45 an hour. I know people that have master's degrees that aren't making that. So, I think that we should also put an emphasis on trades. We should start putting that back into schools. I know that my grandfather told me that when he went to school, they had brick masonry. They were actually taught how to work with bricks. They had welding in high school. So definitely that's something that I would bring back. Does anyone else have any vision for their perfect candidate, the policies that they would set forth?
I do.
Larita, all right.
I agree with everything that everyone has said so far, but I would also go as far as with the schooling, to put more money into the schools, the public schools, and make it so that it's an equal education, the same type of education that a private school should get. The public school should have that same ability to have that same level of education given, because I believe in the public schools, they're taught the business mind. They're taught wealth and versus being rich, because there's a huge difference. I also, as far as prisons, think that they should do away with the profiting of prisons, because that's why they keep so many beds filled, because there's always a profit from it. Like as they say, it's the modern day slavery. They have
It
these
is.
men, and people working for $1, an hour or whatever, how much it is. The healthcare system, I agree with what you guys said, except they need to focus and believe when women say, I don't feel well, and stop taking it as she's just being dramatic, because women have issues that they don't take seriously, like heart issues, heart conditions. They need to add more, they need to focus a lot more on the mental health field. I worked in the mental health field, and they feel that when people are schizophrenic, they're automatically dangerous. No, they just need help. They're not automatically dangerous. They need some help. Give them that help and stop being so quick to put them on the street and then judge them. And then just government aid to be not so focused on putting the father out the house, for a family to be able to get that help, because I see that the families are ripped apart. So, I think
Jim, I
that's
know
pretty
Jim
much
loves
it.
that one.
Yeah. In order for a family to get and I've
My
been there in
sister.
the office. I've been in the office, keeping it real. I've been in the office, and I had to at one point work for my little check, but I hustled to not have to work in the parks, and I worked in the office. And I see a Caucasian woman, come in with a full mink coat, gold and eyelashes, and how were you here? And then I'm filing, and people are getting $2,000 for a utility bill. How is that at all fair? So they need to fix that, make it equal across the board, and stop ripping families apart in order to get help from the government. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any ideas for the perfect candidate or their policies? Looking through everybody. All right.
I would add in.
Go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry.
I would add in that we need to have guaranteed maternity leave and paternity leave, so that folks can have time off when they give birth, for the mother, of course, and the father as well, to have that time to bond with. Because a lot of companies are going that way now, but it's not a guarantee, depending on where you work, and some companies are, less generous than others when it comes to maternity leave. So I think that's important. In addition to everything else, I definitely strongly believe marijuana should be decriminalized at the federal level and on the state level, and restorative justice for those who have been wrongfully imprisoned, in my opinion, for using marijuana. And then with schools, I definitely agree with focusing on trades in high school, and just investing more money for those who do want to go to college, that they are prepared to go to college and excel. Pre-college programs in our communities, so that we have opportunities to go to great programs across the nation, along with our counterparts and those who come from other countries can come to those types of programs. So I think we need to invest more in schools, paying teachers a living wage as well. And I think that's not fair across the board. And yeah, I think that was it.
Thanks, Corey. Does anyone have anything else? Anyone else want to comment? So quiet, but one thing that I think that we've all kind of noticed from this is that we have similar views. We, for the most part, want the same thing. Like Jim, you're a conservative, and I'm pretty sure that you agree with most of the things that we've said that we want. So
Yes.
I think that if we start putting these candidates forward, we start making them earn our vote. This is like a conversation like this. We can go to them and have a list and say, this is what we want. We demand that you do these things instead of picking the lesser of two evils, which is what we've been doing for pretty much all of our lifetimes. So
Right.
I think that this is the start of it. This right here can be the start of a movement. What we have to do is we have a lot of young politicians. We have a lot of young people that are going to be running for office. I mean, hey, if you're nervous, if you feel comfortable, go run for office yourself. If anyone here, there's a lot of you here from Charlotte or from North Carolina. I'm counting at least 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 of you from Charlotte. I think, 1, 2. Wait, if you're from North Carolina, raise your hand so I can make sure my numbers are right. 1, 2. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I think they all from the Charlotte area.
Chocolate City.
Yeah. So, and we have folks up here in Jersey. So we can put a candidate together and we can say, you know what, this is what we want. And then we can bring our candidate to our communities. Because real change happens on a local level, not really on a presidential level. If you can change things from the local level, you can do what the Tea Party did. You create that change on a local level and you can push the presidency to the direction that you want.
All right.
So this is the beginning. This right here. The social media page is up. For those of you that have YouTube, it's Fall to Rise Podcast. If you have Instagram, I finally got it up. The Fall to Rise Podcast Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel, Fall to Rise Podcast. You can email me, falltorisepod@gmail.com. If we have ideas, we can really put this movement into action. Let's stop fighting over Democrat or Republican. Let's stop fighting over, okay, well, I like Trump, I don't like Trump. Let's start focusing on what are we going to do to change this system? Because after election, after November, what happens? We're back in the same boat again. So how about we start preparing now for the next time? We start preparing now for our local elections. We start preparing now for our congressional elections. We start preparing for our gubernatorial races, our presidential races. So I think that this is the beginning, if you all are in favor of it. And those that aren't watching this live and are watching it on YouTube or various streaming platforms, this is the beginning. So I think that we should all start reaching out to each other. We should start coming up with a clear, concise plan for what we want to do. Again, the social media pages are the Facebook, Fall to Rise Podcast, Instagram, Fall to Rise Podcast. Email me, falltorisepod@gmail.com. If you have further questions or comments, bring them up on there. We'll hash them out, come up with a clear, concise plan, and try to make a difference. We can try to, in the words of Barack Obama, we're the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change we seek. So let's kind of get to it.
Well, my brother, before you close out, I
Sure.
have a question.
Sure.
It's been a pure pleasure being on your show, and I
I
learned,
appreciate you coming on.
and I grew, and you said you see the change in me, and that's who I am. I keep it real, even myself, and I grew from this. But I feel so. I showed myself, I revealed myself, I have changed, I have grown as well, but I feel so empty that I didn't receive something back from your audience. I hope I gave all of myself. I do feel a little empty, and I'll tell you what it is. It's been wonderful. The dialogue's been excellent, so no, I got that back. I even felt the love for some who think totally different than I do. But where I feel empty, I didn't receive this back. I did not hear or feel the reason why my brothers and sisters are Democrats. I did not get that back. Jim, this is why we are Democrats. This is why you should be a Democrat. I didn't get that back. I don't know if they can answer in one word now. Why are they voting Democratic? And if so, please, if they do respond, please respond because your interest is at the forefront while you're a Democrat, not because we've been there for years. It's the way we do it. They're better than Trump. I just want to hear, why are you Democratic? And where's your interest being served being Democratic? So I just wanted, I've received so much from the audience. I really did. And I thank you for allowing me to express myself. I just want to hear that. Because as I came on and said, I was very confused, but I tried to make it as clear as I could. I support policy, not the man. I think a lot of things he's despicable. But sometimes I told you I could sit with anyone that I perceive can help my people in the long run. So I will even sit with the devil, a despicable human in character. But I just want to hear from my people. Why are you Democratic? And if you're still voting Democratic, where is it serving your people or your personal interests? So that's all. I just feel empty that I haven't received that from your audience.
Well, what we can do is, like I said, we're gonna have the social media up because we're actually 12 minutes past.
Okay.
We're gonna have the social media up there. We'll post the information. I'll post the question so that people can answer it. We can continue the dialogue. But I think that after this conversation, after these two shows, I think that we're kind of in a position now where we can kind of move away from being Democrats or Republicans.
Right.
I think that
Absolutely.
after these conversations, we can kind of push these parties the way that we want if we all work together, come together on a common platform.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, definitely that question is a good question, and I will put it up on the social media, on the Facebooks and the Instagram pages. So if you're not subscribed to the Fall to Rise Podcast Facebook, the Fall to Rise Podcast Instagram, and the Fall to Rise Podcast YouTube, please do so. Please encourage your friends to do so. And if you have any ideas for shows that you want covered or subjects that you want covered, reach out to me. Please reach out to me. There have been quite a few shows that I've covered because people have contacted me and said, hey, man, why don't you talk about X, Y, Z? And we talked about it. You know, there's nothing that's taboo. For all of you that know me, you know that there's nothing that's taboo. You know that there's nothing that I'm afraid to talk about. So if you have any ideas, please feel free. Reach out to me. You know,
my brother.
We have
Okay,
Larita.
sorry.
She's eventually going to be on one of my shows. You know, definitely reach out. I'm going to read Larita's quick comments before we head out. I definitely opened my mind a bit more, so thank you both. Thanks, Larita.
You're quite welcome.
Before I leave, two quick plugs. My buddy, Legend Damian Simmons, who I affectionately call Rob Legend, is an actor. Some of you saw him on the Breaking Generational Curses episode. Rob is actually getting ready to be on pay-per-view with his play.
Great.
Rob, what's the name of the play again? Did we lose him? We may have lost Rob. I hope not. But I'll post the info on both pages because, you know, we need to lift each other up. We definitely need to lift each other up. We need to kind of reach down and pull each other. I'm definitely going to be watching. It's going to be a pay-per-view play called. That's bad that I forgot it. It's called Love Under Contract.
Wow.
So Rob's actually going to be on that play. It's going to be acting and singing. I just think he's the main character. I know that Joe has his social media. He has his network, the He Said She Said group, which is a Christian relationship ministry. And you also have your shows coming up. If you want, you can expound on them. And if anyone else has any shows that they need to promote, please feel free to do so before we close it out.
My brother,
Yeah.
let me say this. Oh, go right ahead, Joe.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to just say, man, you're exactly right, man. We have a Christian relationship ministry. It's called He Said, She Said. There's a couple people up here that's a part of the community. James is also a part of the community as well. We're a big family, man. I mean, we talk about relationships and use the word of God as the basis for the topics that we have. We have a topic that's coming up on September the 19th, which is a Saturday. It's titled, Am I Out of My League? We're going to address that from a biblical perspective. So if you are interested, you can look me up. I'm on YouTube as well, just as my name is on the Zoom, Joseph Hogue III. Check me out. You'll be able to get access to all of my social media platforms. So just follow me, and we look forward to having you guys. We have a good time. So hopefully you guys will join us.
Right.
Good thing it's judgment free. That's the biggest thing with me. Jim, you were saying something?
No, just to close out, I didn't have a chance, or maybe I did, to give my perfect candidate. Maybe that was because y'all probably thought I would say Trump, but that's not the case. But no, really. No, I'm not going to. I just want to leave one name, if I could.
Sure.
If I had a perfect candidate, Dr. Claude Anderson.
Okay.
Power Anonymous. Please, my people, just look into him. That's all I got to say. I'm not going to go into what he stands for. If there was a perfect candidate, Dr. Claude Anderson would be mine. And if you care to look him up and see why I say this, then you would completely understand. Even though I'm not really all with the system, Dr. Claude Anderson would be my perfect candidate.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that, brother. So,
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else
thank
have
you.
anything else to plug before we close out? No? All right. Well, I thank you all for sticking with us for this 2-week episode. This is the first time that we actually did a two-parter. Believe it or not, I was nervous before we did both episodes. I didn't know which way it was going to go. I had a plan, but I didn't know which way it was going to go. But it accomplished its goal. We learned a lot. We made some changes. We have some marching orders. And we're setting a plan in motion. And we're understanding each other. We're humanizing each other. We're talking to each other, which was always my goal. So I really want to thank you all for being a part of this. Jim,
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough. I mean, you took your time from being out there in paradise, catching fish with your hands and, going swimming. You probably will go swimming when we finish.
Absolutely. You know it. I can't wait.
You going in the pool or in the ocean?
I'm going to go in the pool tonight. Just go in the pool tonight.
So, but Jim, again, thank you. Feel free
Absolutely,
to
brother.
every week, every Wednesday. We have some big shows coming up. We have a show coming up on domestic violence from the side of a woman. And if anyone here knows of men that were victims of domestic violence, please let me know, because I would love to have both sides. We have episodes on pedophilia in the Black community because it's very rampant, but we don't talk about it. We have a lot of these cousins and parents that's raping these kids or molesting them, and we kind of sweep it under the rug. And our view is just keep the kids away from them. We need to deal with that. So we have a show about that coming up. I have a show about homelessness coming up. I have a good buddy of mine that works in a homeless shelter. He talks about how mental health affects homelessness, not necessarily just the drugs. And also on that episode, we're going to talk about homeless youth, because that's another problem that we don't talk about. So there's a lot of things that we have coming up. I have a member of the LGBT community. She's going to come up. She's been a big advocate of the LGBT community, and I have a lot of questions. I still want to know what I can and can't say. I still want to understand a lot about that world and that lifestyle. So she's going to come on. She's going to answer some questions. That's actually going to be in December. And again, for all of you, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, a subject you want me to cover, please reach out to me. Fall to Rise Podcast. Fall to Rise Pod at gmail.com. Fall to Rise Podcast Instagram, Fall to Rise Podcast Facebook page, and Fall to Rise Podcast YouTube. All right. Well, thank you. I thank you all.
Thank you,
have
brother.
a good night. Be safe out there.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.